This is ICP, Internet Computer Token. What has it been doing since that huge rejection back on the week of November 3rd? Now, it did try to break out during that week, but was unsuccessful. However, this pattern is still intact. What I'm talking about is this, a falling wedge pattern on the weekly time frame, and ICP has basically pumped all the way from the lows of back in on the week of November 6th, which was that huge crash event, right? Basically, where it pumped from $1.35 to $10 almost in just a matter of weeks before getting dumped on, okay? Because for a couple of reasons I can point out to you guys on this weekly time frame and on this chart in terms of technical analysis, one of which is that it has basically retested that weekly 200 SMA. Now, whenever you're when you retest a support or resistance for the first time in that trend, I would usually expect a very strong reaction. So, in the case of a resistance, I would usually expect a rejection on the first time. The second or third time, the resistance does get weaker. Okay, as you keep hitting a support or resistance, it gets weaker. Okay, so what I'm seeing is this. Okay, this falling wedge pattern, which we've been talking about, is still valid. Falling wedges are bullish patterns that have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. Always have to mind the downside risk as well, because we're all just talking about probabilities in here. Nothing in this market is 100%. And if this breaks to the upside by this point, for example, price target for ICP is still going to be about $22 ICP if it breaks out by that point. Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less, a lot of which, in the case of these altcoins, does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin has more room to pump, which I still think it does, because I still think this bull cycle is still very much on, given a few reasons I've been talking about in my Bitcoin videos. I will link you guys to my today's video late at the end of this one. Okay, I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of Bitcoin. Okay, then that is going to be very good for the altcoins if Bitcoin continues. However, of course, there is still a small chance that Bitcoin dumps, and that's going to be very bad for these altcoins. And when that happens, if that happens, these altcoin setups, they're not going to matter very much. Okay, so keep your eyes on Bitcoin. Now, I talked about on the daily time frame here that there was a falling wedge scenario. Okay, ICP broke out of this one back on December 2nd. It has not really been doing too much, right? This price target here is going to be about $6. About $6 for the smaller falling wedge breakout. Let's see if it reverses soon, okay? Because let's take a look into a smaller time frame and let's see if there's going to be a higher chance of a up move here, right? So there is some bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, let's see if it plays out. This could be some type of a cup and handle scenario, right? Where the resistance is going to be about $4. This is what I'm potentially seeing. Of course, it is not completely formed. Looking for a retest back up to $4 to finish this cup and handle pattern. So let's see if on the shorter term ICP does that. I will keep you guys updated on ICP if enough of you guys want to see it. So make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, or any other coins in this market. I am long on quite a bit of altcoins here, so my opinions and outlook on crypto in general is bullish. However, these are just my opinions. Like the entirety of this video, it's not financial advice. You guys gotta form your own opinions and strategies. So this is basically it for this video. I'll see you guys on the next one.